All right, so here's how the podcast is going to work for a bit. Jake is going off to basic for a bit, for a couple months. So me and him decided to just bank a bunch of podcasts up. And what we decided to bank were just us to doing a bunch of top tens. He's going to be gone for a bit, but I still wanted him on the podcast. I still wanted him here. So instead, we've got a bunch of top tens prepared. We record them all in advance, and you're going to be getting them once a month for every month he's gone. So we've got at least like 10 or 11 of these banked up for now and then we might do some more in the future. This is going to give me a break in the long run because putting these out every once a week could be a little taxing, but this will give me a break period. So I'm really glad to do. I'm really glad, and the podcast has been a lot of fun, and I think me and Jake, we're nerds about enough stuff that we can keep a conversation about like our 10 favorite bands or movies. We've got a bunch lined up that I think you guys are gonna really enjoy. So this first one I think is bands. I think is what we did first. It was either bands or movies. Either way, whichever one you're getting, we have insanely nerdy conversations about it, and we really enjoyed. It was cool. It was really cool to see Jake's opinions and mine, and where we're similar and where we're different. Because when we have two friends that are this similar, it's cool to see where we share and where we differ. So that's today's top 10 bands, probably. So take care.
You know my number one.
We're gonna get there.
But yeah,
Alright.
we'll work our way down because it's good to
So
put the suspense.
we've both compiled. This is different from the normal podcast where we normally just kind of shoot the shit for a bit and
Yeah.
chat about. But today we have compiled a list. I talked about in the intro and shit, like the whole reason we're banking a bunch of podcasts. But the first, so we've decided to just do a bunch of top tens or just talk about some of our favorite stuff,
Yeah.
which I think is a good way to do it. And these are probably going to be a little bit shorter. The normal podcast runs, I try to keep around 2 hours, but they're going to be a little bit shorter. Maybe a little bit. We'll see. We might just ramble. It might be longer than normal. I don't know how this goes.
I mean, I don't know because I feel like we have a lot to talk about with these. I feel like that both me and you can definitely give some information on these artists or
So
these
today we're
movies
doing
or whatever we're doing.
Our top 10. Today we're doing our top 10. Make sure, by the way, I forgot to check this. Let's make sure our
Alright,
mics
I
are,
checked mine.
because mine was not pointed the right way.
Audio Technica.
It's the band. So today we're doing our top 10 musicians and bands. So this can be a list of, it's going to be 10 of what we consider our favorite bands or musicians singular.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking the best way to do this would be if we do, like, I'll do 10, you do 10,
Yeah.
and we'll 9, 9, 9, 9.
Yeah.
If there is overlap, like we say the same one, which we might because we're pretty similar.
Yeah.
We'll just talk about that person then.
Mhm.
Uh,
But only if we have the same number, because if I have the same one as you, but yours is earlier in the list, do I tell you that?
yes.
Or do you want me to wait? I feel like if you've already said like one of my artists, that I should be like, hey, that's mine. That's one of my numbers.
There's a high chance that one of my higher numbers is one of yours. So if we do that,
Yeah.
we'll wait till it's the higher number.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll do that. My number, or do you want to go first or should I go number first?
No, you got it.
My number 10, my 10th favorite band,
Mhm.
the Bare Naked Ladies.
All right.
There's a certain mood that this band gets me into as opposed to other bands. You're going to see a pattern of, there's a lot of rock in my list and there's a lot of comedy,
Yeah.
but this one's kind of the outlier for some of it because their sound is it's very like, wholesome's not the word, but it's very like upbeat.
Yeah.
Like
No,
I
get you.
like listening. If I listen to one of their songs, it will put me in a good mood.
Yeah. It's like like some more bright rock, you know, because some rock you really get into the territory where it's like either like very.
We should not have eaten pizza before this.
I
I can
know,
already tell us we are
I knew
filled
that would
with
happen.
mucus.
I could feel it building up, and I was like,
I'm just gonna drink water every time I feel the urge.
But you get into some of those rock bands that are more hard rock, but Bare Naked Ladies is definitely most of their songs are bright and happy, or maybe not even happy, just more
real
upbeat.
on some level. Like specifically, if I had to pick, like I think we should do song recommendations for each one too. What do you think my favorite Bare Naked Ladies song is?
I was thinking 1 week.
It's not 1 week. 1 week is pretty good, and that's like the one I think most people know.
Yeah,
I think it's been in movies and stuff, and people.
I
know.
think they're probably best known for the Big Bang Theory theme song now.
Yeah, that's also true. That's fair. I think Odds Are is my favorite song. So Odds Are We're Gonna Be Alright.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that song really crushes a bunch of anxiety for me.
Yeah.
It's just like, I generally have a pretty fuck it attitude, but I do struggle with anxiety a lot. It is something I struggle with, something I deal with, and I use music as a lot of a coping mechanism, like I know a lot of people do, but that song in particular can really turn my mood around.
Yeah.
Because it's like, struck by lightning sounds pretty frightening.
Yeah.
I guess it's a mobility thing where I'm like, it's depressing, but it's such a light tone. It's like watching Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this is morbid, but it's cool. Or like a Corpse Bride or any Tim Burton movie.
Yeah. I definitely know some songs like that where I get down even though they're like really dark or really like, sometimes you have to get into stuff like that.
If I had to give 3 song recommendations for them, I think that's how we'll do this. 3 song recommendations for each.
Alrighty.
I would do Odds Are, Did I Say That Out Loud, which is a really good love song.
Yeah.
And Be My Yoko Ono.
Oh, no.
I don't know why, but that song does kind of dig at Yoko Ono,
Yeah.
and I find it a little funny.
She kind of deserves it. Well, should I really be trashing Yoko Ono
That's
on a music
that's a Beatles conversation for another time.
Well,
we might.
Yeah, I was about to say, just give me a few numbers. And
All right, you're number 10.
All right, my number 10 is actually, and I did a lot of rearranging because...
So did I. Dude, the number 10 spots were the hardest for me to collect.
Honestly, because I didn't want to put any of these at the bottom because I love all these artists, but like objectively looking at the ones I listen to the most and the ones I know the most songs by, I had to kind of choose. And my number 10 is Foreigner.
All right.
And Foreigner, and it's weird because Foreigner is one of the few that I've actually seen live. But they ended up at number 10, but still like I've known Foreigner for a long time and I've always loved. I think my first song I did with him was Jukebox Hero.
Yeah, I think it's one most people know.
Which is like just one of the most epic songs I know.
That song has such a good build up. Like
Yes.
it's like a 3-act play where it's just like and it's just that slow fade in.
Yeah.
We can't sing a lot of these because I don't want to have to deal with that.
Oh, I'll try to do the instrumentals with my mouth and not say the lyrics. Not many lyrics at least.
So that song has a really good lead in where it's like it's slowly climbing until like the second the chorus hit, and it's like that one guitar, bow. I do love Jukebox Hero.
Oh, no, but I mean another song I think because Jukebox Hero is definitely one of my recommendations because it's one of my favorite songs by them. But I probably should pick one of their happier songs, but I really really like Blue Morning Blue Day.
Mm-hmm.
That is like just for a while that was one of my favorite like songs to listen to and to sing just because it's so like the lead in for that one's also really good where it's like no.
This is all this podcast is gonna be is us just going.
People better be on board for it, all right? Because
that's what you got an hour of this.
This is talent.
What about Waiting for a Girl Like You?
That's
the one I like a lot, and I think it's because of Footloose.
And see, I like their ballads, like I Want to Know What Love Is and Waiting for a Girl Like You, but I just really like their rock songs. I got to think of We'll get to ballads here in a bit on mine too. I really want to. I don't know, because I've got a few Foreigner songs I could put it for my third recommendation. Yeah.
I've already got Spotify open on my phone. I'm like, I'm just gonna make sure
I should have prepared for that.
I'm gonna be prepared for everything.
See, Double Vision is stuck in my head right now, but I don't know if I'd say Double Vision is my Cold as Ice. That could be my third recommendation.
It's solid.
It's a classic, but it's definitely
I think Foreigner's one of those bands that people know more of their songs than they think they do.
Definitely. Foreigner they have such a big catalog of like famous rock songs that sometimes you don't even know it's them, unless you're like actually a fan of rock or a fan of them.
Into it.
But they've got a pretty recognizable sound, so it's just a matter of knowing what they sound like.
So Jukebox Hero,
Blue Morning Blue Day, and then Cold as Ice.
Cold as Ice. Those are good songs. Those are good songs across the board.
I know. I'm really excited to get like up to number 1 because I've got a lot of songs.
My number 9. I know I can't talk about it now because it's gonna be way higher on your list. I know for a fact. Is Billy Joel.
Ah, number 9.
He's number 9, and
no, it's okay. It's okay.
He was almost higher, but like we'll get to it when we get to yours.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure he's way higher on your list.
He is. He's very, very high on my list.
So what's your number 9?
My number 9 is actually Red Hot Chili Peppers. Which
Okay.
is another band that I didn't want to put low on the list, but
I've just not heard enough of Chili Peppers.
that's another band, just like Foreigner, that you hear some of their songs and you don't even realize that you knew it. Like, and especially being a 2000s kid, them still being popular past the 90s, like, we know a lot of their songs.
Yeah, we do. I remember Californication and Under the Bridge.
And I also love them, like, they have this really weird thing about California where they always use California to, like, talk about the, like, worst of society, especially, like, Western society, obviously. So, like, Californication and Danny California and songs like that, like, they just trash on it.
I feel like Green Day did the exact opposite, where they attacked the East Coast more.
Green Day they were...
Meanwhile, they got a Broadway show.
And it's weird that I would say Red Hot Chili Peppers remind me more of, like, California sound than Green Day does. But Green Day is more, like, against... I don't know.
There's a certain vibe that...
describe that.
The Chili Peppers gave off where anyone I know from the West Coast knows the Chili Peppers and they're into it. Like, they're deep into it.
And if I was gonna give my favorites, I would say Danny California is like one of my favorite songs by them. Just because it tells a really good story and it's got that, like, I'm not gonna do the musical myself for every artist.
Go listen to it.
Like that bouncing, like, intro they have. I like that. And then Can't Stop is another one I love by them. That guitar solo at the very beginning where it's like, I'm gonna have to do this one. It's like, don't no 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 no.
Yeah.
I love that one. And then I guess these are some good ones, but I guess Snow, Heyo is just a really, really good vibe song for them.
That's a band I'm really wanting to get more into. Cause, like, I know I've scratched the surface, but I haven't delved into that, and I know friends who are really into them.
Yeah. And that's one thing about me too is the further we get into the list, I think the more obscure I can talk about a band. But some of these, like, I'd know them for their most famous songs because, like, I know a lot of bands for their most famous songs. But,
so
they're good songs.
All right, we go into number 8.
Mm-hmm.
My number 8, comedy legend Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh my god!
I could not neglect Weird Al from this list.
Yeah.
Weird Al Yankovic is he just got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame last year.
He did.
Which is insane to me.
Yeah.
Because his brand of comedy, I think everyone likes it. Like, I'm sure there's people that don't like Weird Al Yankovic, but I don't know him.
Yeah.
It's
not talks to me about that.
I don't know one person who can say they hate every Weird Al song. There's some even I'm not, like, huge on.
Yeah. I mean, he takes some very, like, what we were talking about, like, Fat. Like, it's the kind of song that you're like, oh my god, it's childish to laugh at, but it's so funny sometimes.
It's such a good brand of humor. I can't tell you the lyrics to Bad. Like, actually, I can't. Because no matter what, if I hear that melody, I don't think of that. I think of Fat.
I have to, because a few Weird Al songs are on my Spotify shuffle. So sometimes I can't tell the difference between the real song and the Weird Al song, because his songs are usually tuned up a bit.
Yeah,
You
they're
can
normally
hear,
a little
like,
bit.
they're higher
They're
punchier.
pitch, and they're normally a little bit faster.
Yeah, but sometimes I just can't tell. Like, sometimes I'm like, oh god, who is this?
Amish Paradise, I have that thing with where
Yeah.
it's like, is this Gangster's Paradise or is this Amish Paradise? I'm not sure yet.
I've gotten good at telling the difference between Smells Like Nirvana and Smells Like Teen Spirit.
That song is such a good parody of another band.
Yeah.
I think even Kurt Cobain talked about, like, he knew he made it when Weird Al Yankovic did a cover of him.
That's amazing. I love that versus someone like Prince, who like would not let Weird
Was not
Al.
cool with it.
Yeah, he just like don't cover my songs.
It's just like, no, don't. Which I don't know what Prince song would make a good Weird Al, but like this is the guy who made an entire polka melody out of Hamilton. You know? And it's another one of those things that just makes me happy.
Yeah.
Like these, and looking at like song lists, like my favorite songs I've noticed are like the ones where he really kind of goes off the wall with some stuff.
Yeah.
If I had to pick, my first recommendation is the Hamilton polka.
Yeah.
It takes, I think it's almost or every song from the musical Hamilton and put into like this 5-minute song with like the accordion going, and it's hilarious because it's I guess it's a satire, but like it takes this very like hot, like this musical that's held to a certain level of respect, and it's like, we're gonna knock it down a peg and make it fun and make it cool, even though the musical is fun, but like there's a certain level of
like it takes itself seriously.
Yeah, it takes itself seriously, but the music itself is good.
Yeah.
Like, I like Hamilton, but I think I like the Hamilton polka more. My second recommendation, probably The Saga Begins, just because I'm such a movie guy.
Yeah, no,
I love American Pie. American Pie is a good song.
Yeah.
But The Saga Begins, this goes back to, like, Fat, where sometimes I get the verses confused.
Yeah.
Like, every time it's anytime I hear American Pie, and it gets to the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, my brain immediately starts thinking of, I'm still here and he's a ghost.
Dude, that's actually one of the few Weird Al like covers that I know all the words to and all the words to the original song.
Yeah, same.
So it's like I love being able to switch back and forth like
on the fly. And that song
is Anakin guy.
That song is probably the closest to its original.
Yeah, and it works so well. Like
it works really
he
well.
found a way to make it like, and he's telling the story of the, I guess he's telling the story of all the prequels or just the first one?
Just Phantom Menace.
Okay.
In fact, when a buddy of mine, when Force Awakens came out, we watched every Star Wars movie in leading up to going to the theater.
Yeah.
Except Phantom Menace, because we ran out of time.
But you could just listen to
We
the
were
song.
like, we're not going to have time for this, but he needs to see 3.
Yeah.
So we'll skip the Phantom Menace and just have you listen to this song.
I mean, it tells you everything.
It really does. It's just a recap of one of the like not greatest Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Like, that's a discussion for another time. You're number 8?
Oh wait, third recommendation for Weird Al.
Oh, third out. Weird Al Yankovic. Ooh, let me what did I say? I said Hamilton Polka, Saga Begins,
yeah.
and Party in the CIA.
I
don't know the lyrics
too.
I don't know the lyrics to Party in the USA, but Party in the CIA makes me crack up because it's a little bit darker. It's a little bit darker. It's like it's because it makes references to waterboarding and cyanide pills.
Yeah.
It's a little darker for his thing, or another darker, or not even darker, but one of his cruder songs, which he's not a crude comedian or crude artist.
Yeah.
But Jerry Springer.
Oh yeah.
That song, I'm like, I could see that this definitely sounds like a song.
That's the 1 week parody, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the 1 week parody, which might be why I like it. That song, I could absolutely, it's funny, and I could see it coming from a lot of other people, but for some reason, Weird Al, it's like, this is different, but I still like it. It's still a good song.
Yeah.
All right, you're number 8.
So my number 8 is actually a very different change from my last 2.
Mine wasn't from,
but it's one that I've actually liked a lot. It reminds me of Greg Middleton.
our buddy Greg from
It's
one of the greatest actors I've ever met.
Justin Timberlake.
Okay.
Number 8, because and not just because of his regular songs. Yeah, like I think he's put out some really good solo stuff, but I still will stand on the fact that Justin Timberlake is one of my favorite feature artists ever. And I
Mhm.
know that rap came along and kind of like took over the feature artist industry,
Mhm.
but Justin Timberlake was doing it before anyone was, because he was on songs like Dead and Gone with Ti, and he was on songs like what's that other one? He's not credited in. Oh, God, I can't remember.
I honestly don't know anything about Justin Timberlake.
He's just a really good feature artist. Like if you get him
Actually,
on
no,
your
I do know a
song,
few of these songs.
what is another one he's featured on? I'm just gonna, cause I don't want to say his feature songs for my recommendations,
Yeah.
because I feel like I should give the guy some credit for his work.
But his features are good.
Yeah, but he's very good when he comes on a song. But I like some of his early 2000s stuff more than his new stuff. So I'd say my 3 recommendations are probably "Cry Me a River" for the
Mhm.
first one, because that song just freaking beautiful. Like the way it comes in with the rain, and the music video is also amazing. Like,
Oh, we should. Yeah, there's some music videos that we need to.
and the way he calls out Britney Spears in the music, like by having an actor that looks just like her, like because he was definitely trying to
Yeah.
like call her out. It's great, early 2000s drama. But anyways, what goes around comes around is probably my second recommendation for him.
Mm.
And then I'd say, I guess "My Love" with Ti,
Mm-hmm.
like because that one's
know
one you can
none
still
of
play
these.
today. I know.
It's not my scene.
Yeah, but these are all songs that I would play at a party and people would still get pumped up to, even if they didn't know them. But they are pretty. I feel like if you heard at least one of these, you'd recognize it, especially "What Goes
I'm
Around Comes
sure.
Around."
Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah,
It just there's I might have a boomer's brain,
yeah,
and the fact that like my brain there's a certain era of music that I really enjoy, and then I don't. There's no music I really hate is the thing.
yeah.
But there's just music I haven't been exposed to enough to like it.
You have to really like, because some people, the reason they don't like music is because they're not open minded about it.
Yeah.
They hear it and they hear that it's different, and they're like, "Ew, like this doesn't sound like the kind of stuff I listen to." But the way I find that if you can find a beat, or if you can find a lyric that you like, if you can find anything to like about that song, then you can eventually learn to like the song.
Mhm.
So that's what I like to. That's what I like to do. That's why I listen to so much random stuff. It's just because I can find
My
anything.
tastes have been all over the place for years.
Yeah.
It's like you get an 80s Cyndi Lauper song, and then like a death metal song from Japan.
Yeah. Like Russian rap is one of the ones.
Oh jeez.
I got into.
All right. Are we up to 7? Where are we at?
Yeah.
Okay. My number 7 is a YouTube. He's in the video game music community. One of the greatest guitarists I've ever seen, Family Jewels.
Huh.
I don't know if I've ever shown you his stuff before. If it has played in my car, it's just been like he does a lot of it's instrumental rock or metal covers of video game music.
Yeah.
And in recent years, it has just become my go-to background music.
Yeah.
His music is used in live streams I watch constantly. He worked on some of my favorite games, Crypt of the Necrodancer. That song I showed you, Metalmancy, I think specifically is what it was. Don't quote me on that.
And you also told me about like death metal.
Death metal is the boss that Metalmancy plays
yeah.
on. And he does it with other content creators. It's really cool. He shreds. Like watching this dude play guitar. There's a video of him playing guitar with a broken wrist at one point. Because he didn't know his hand was broken. He was like, a guitar fell on it, but he still was playing.
Yeah.
And the other thing I like is just, he's also a speedrunner. He streams on Twitch, and he's speedrun Super Mario 64, Banjo-Kazooie, and I think he currently owns the world record for Tony Hawk Pro Skater on N64.
Yeah.
Specifically the N64 port. Too,
Whoa, yeah.
which is not which is not like the way people play that game normally.
Yeah.
And he's funny. He'll put up the clips online and stuff, but his music itself, it's just some of his songs there's some background lyrics or
I think his girlfriend does a lot of singing with him.
Yeah.
His if I had to pick 3 songs to really recommend to really get a good idea of what he's about, like what his style is a lot like, I would have to say what's it called? Rock Club, which is a song from Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game.
Yeah.
Which that game is baller. If no, and it just got re-released on like a bunch of consoles and stuff not too long ago.
Yeah.
And that's a really good one. The other one I'll recommend is Butterfly, which is a DDR song. That one has Adriana singing backup or singing the lyrics to the song.
Yeah.
And it's just DDR song. And of course, I love DDR. I love a lot of game stuff. And the final one I'll probably throw in here. Okay. See, this is hard because, like, I want to do something that's going to really... I know. I wanted to do something that, like, really shows off just how good this guy is.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a combination of 2. And I think it's from one of my favorite games of all time, Xenoblade Chronicles, which is a game I've talked about to you.
Yeah.
It's... What's the name of the song? You Will Know Our Names and Garu Plains. 2 of the greatest songs from that game, and he does these metal versions of these what were like these huge orchestra songs.
Yeah.
And he does it in this metal context, but with just as much effort and is just as much grandness as an entire orchestra.
Yeah.
But it's this dude.
I think it's so fascinating how people can like take a song and port it to their own like cover style.
Mm-hmm.
I've really interested in that lately because
And this is not the last
really
cover
hard to
artist
do,
on
yeah.
here, for the record. There's one more, and we'll get to him in a bit. I know you know it. I don't want to say it.
I also feel like I want to like stop at number 4 and see if we can guess each other's top 3.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll definitely do that.
Because if you don't say certain artists, then I'm just gonna guess they're in your top 3 because I know.
Okay.
Okay. So where are
Go
we at right
go
now?
check out. It's Family Jewels, formerly Family Jewels 7X, which I think he's talked about was a reference to his Avenged Sevenfold.
Oh my gosh.
But he was like, I think his exact words were, "I don't want my name to look like an Xbox Live gamer tag." So, so you're number 7. I know I rambled, but
See, I don't know if you have this one on your list. I know it's probably an artist you like, but these guys are just really good for workout songs for me, even though they're a very, very famous band. It's AC/DC.
Okay, AC/DC did not make my list, and I'm sad I didn't put it as an honorable mention. I do have some honorable mentions.
I've got 3 honorable mentions.
We'll get to there. AC/DC is like, I think the quote that I heard that summed it up the best was, it was like someone was talking about, I saw some video of a guy that's like, make any AC/DC song, learn these 3 chords and talking and singing this type of voice.
Yeah.
And there was a quote from one of the band members. He was like, "I'm sick of people saying we put out 9 albums that all sound the same. We put out 10 albums that all sounded the same."
The funny thing is that like they changed lead singers. Like by Back in Black. I mean, Back in Black was the first album they had with a new lead singer, and he just nailed their original sound that they had on stuff. I'm pretty sure Fly on the Wall was earlier than Back in Black, but
Yes,
if you
I
listen
think
to
so.
like an earlier album and then any album after Back in Black, like you might not be able to tell the difference between the lead singers.
I have the vinyl for Back in Black up there.
Dude, I know that like I said earlier, I like a lot of basic songs from artists. So like my favorite AC/DC songs, I guess I'll go ahead and go into suggestions now that I'm branching off into it. I'd say one of my first suggestions is Shoot to Thrill.
Shoot the Thrill is
I
really
just
good.
really, really love that song. But
It's a good workout. You're right. It's a great workout track.
all their
Like,
stuff is
they-
just really good to get
all-
pumped up like that.
They had such a, and when I was talking about the quote and thing, it was like, I'm not trashing it. They had a niche that they were extremely good at.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know a lot of bands that do that exact thing where a lot of their songs sound the same, but
But they do their one thing great.
yeah, and all they need to do is change like a bass line or a guitar track or something like that, and I will instantly like fall in love with this new song that sounds pretty similar.
And would use some pretty out there instruments at time. Like the bagpipes in A Long Way to the Top. That's probably my favorite AC/DC song is A Long Way to the Top.
Yeah.
Because you made the bagpipes rock, you
Yeah.
know?
But also, second recommendation, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. Didn't think it was going to play.
Yeah, I would mute your phone.
It just started playing right when I said it.
I'm going to go ahead and
Yeah, I'm going to turn the sound off. That scared me.
I'm going to go ahead and look at the timer.
Just in case. Like, it was just a little flash of it, but
I don't think it will be an issue.
I don't know what they can get us for.
I don't think it will be I don't think it will be an issue, especially because no one watches the show. But
If somebody finds it and decides to snitch on us, then they're just
dicks.
yeah, they're just being
Someone
out
that
there.
doesn't like me.
It's one of our personal enemies.
So what it was? Shoot
And-
to Thrill,
and
Dirty
Shoot to
Deeds
Thrill.
Done Dirt Cheap,
And I, again, at the risk of being basic, I'd say Thunderstruck.
Thunderstruck.
I've had Thunderstruck on my phone for like since I was in middle school.
I think,
So it's a classic.
yeah, and I think like that they use a lot of AC/DC and Iron Man too, and it
Yeah.
really is the perfect tone for that movie too.
Like especially when he flies in Avengers.
In
to shoot the
Avengers to
thrill.
shoot the thrill, and it
Yes.
lands. He lands. It happens twice. He does it in Iron Man 2 and in Avengers, and
Yeah.
both times when he lands, it's right as it's the chorus. So it's shoot the thrill.
Yeah. Oh my! I love those scenes. I think that
They're
I think
both
they
great.
really use Iron Man's music like awesome. I think that they really picked some good songs for that movie. But all right, so we're at number 6.
We're at number 6 already. Okay, my number 6. I'm sorry, but it was a tie. I could not put one of these bands above the other.
Yeah.
And it was such a trial for this list because I was like, I can't leave this band out. I just can't. But also, it's like 10 is not enough. So I was like, I'm going to tie these two.
Okay.
Poison and Def Leppard.
All right. I get that.
These could
I
have
can see
been
that.
a little bit higher too, but this is where I stuck them. So, Def Leppard, I like them because they're a rock band, and I know this list is just full of rock. And if you're not into rock, these aren't going to be your bands.
Yeah.
But I got a few comedy bands on here too.
I was about to say, away from me, I've got a few different tone bands.
Yeah. Def Leppard, I was even looking into like doing some bass and learning some of their songs.
Yeah.
What I realized is part of the reason I like it is because they're a rock band, but they're a little bit slower.
Yeah.
And they've always been that way. It's not because and this is one of the things I love about the band. I find so cool. Rick Allen is their drummer, and he's missing an arm.
Yeah.
And he wasn't always missing an arm. He lost his arm after Def Leppard was already a success.
Wasn't it a car crash?
It was a
Yeah.
car crash, I think.
I'm pretty sure I heard it on
But
like a radio story.
regardless, that's not why it's a little bit slow. It's because it's just their style. Like their
Yeah.
style is like you have these really like in your face, grandiose type rock songs that are take their time and go. I think specifically, if you look at like the bass line for "Pour Some Sugar on Me," it's pretty damn slow. The tempo is real slow.
Yeah.
It's a really in contrast, Poison and Def Leppard were two of the bands alongside Twisted Sister, who is one of my honorable mentions, that my mother grew up with, and she showed me it when I was very young. Probably younger than I should have been for those bands, but that Poison would also have this kind of vibe, like that hair metal vibe.
Mm.
And I guess that probably inspired a little bit of how I treat myself and look. They're both just rocking bands.
Yeah.
And I know one teacher I had in specifically could not stand Def Leppard.
Oh my god.
And I don't know why. I don't know why he just didn't
Just
like
a
him.
music teacher or just a regular teacher?
No, he was a history teacher.
Okay, yeah, he had no opinion.
Nah, he's actually a really good
Wait.
drummer. We know
Oh,
you know
I know
exactly
okay.
who this was because you had him.
Okay, yeah, then never mind. He has a really
He has good opinions.
Yeah, he's very smart. with music.
he's endowed. But for both of these bands, they're just like my rockers.
Yeah.
Like if I just want that 80s style rock to blow my eardrums out
Yeah.
and rebel and be like as a teenager, just rock to this.
Yeah.
It was these two. If I had to give my recommendation, Def Leppard. Oh, let me pull up the playlist because it's hard. For Def Leppard, easily my top pick would be Photograph. If you haven't heard Photograph, it's this really good song about this guy falling in love with this woman he finds in a photograph.
Yeah.
Which I find A, hilarious.
Yeah.
But B, the song is really freaking good. I hate that it shares the same name as that Nickelback song.
I think the funny thing about that one is, obviously the Nickelback song has a lot of name recognition and sound recognition, but I think Photograph is actually a very, very recognizable song once you hear it.
Yeah, I
especially
think it is
that chorus. Like,
if I had to do number 2, it would be Rock of Ages, where it has that opening lead of I think it's German when they're talking. You went real wide at it when you looked at your phone. You all right?
Sorry, I think somebody died.
What?
No, sorry. It's not somebody that I know.
Okay.
It said 2 years, we'll remember you forever. And I was like, oh, shoot.
Okay, neglecting your phone messages. Rock of Ages is another one of the, you'll really see it in that song, I think, where I'm talking about they're a little bit slower, but they're still full of energy.
Yeah.
And then my third recommendation would be Make Love Like a Man.
All right.
Which sounds like the song's not as bad as you think. It's another rocker.
Yeah.
It says and now for Poison, I've definitely been listening to since I was way too young, and I got deeper into it. Of course, people know Talk Dirty to Me and Every Rose Has Its Thorn. I will recommend Every Rose Has Its Thorn, but if I want to give some deeper cuts,
It's one of their very few ballads.
yeah, their ballads are good.
Yeah.
As much people talk about Every Rose Has Its Thorn, I actually really like Something to Believe In. Something to Believe In is a good song.
Yeah.
And it's there's emotion in it that I think on some level I can not connect to, but I feel with them when they're doing that song.
Yeah.
But 3 recommendations would definitely be maybe I'll do Something to Believe In as one of them. Your Mama Don't Dance, I really like. And one, okay, a little bit out there. They did a cover of What I Like About You.
Oh.
And I like it better than the original song.
I could see that, though. I've never heard it, but...
And also with,
them covering that.
the sexual undertones of that band. They change it up. They make it really, really good. All right, what are we at? You're on 6 now?
Yeah.
Okay.
6 is another tone change, and 5 will be also very different from this one. But
we'll see.
6 is Maroon 5.
Okay.
And
no,
Maroon
I could
5,
see. I expected that to be for you.
Yeah, because it's just it's not even because I think they're just the most amazing artist, which they are. They're very talented, but it's honestly mostly a nostalgia thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
Just because all these songs that I know by them, I remember hearing when I was a kid, and just
you're right. In fact, Maroon 5 is the band I constantly remember playing at the roller rink that we would go to in middle school and high school.
Yeah.
Every Saturday night, people would go to that roller rink. It was the hangout spot, and Maroon 5 was always playing.
Yeah.
You're totally right.
And the weird thing is, I don't even like some of their most famous recent songs.
Mhm.
You know that song Sugar?
Nope.
It's I like it, I just don't like it as much as some of their older stuff. This Love and She Will Be Loved are both classics. And then this one's actually more of a deeper cut with Maroon 5. It's called Harder to Breathe.
Mm-hmm.
I just really love I love the way that they just in the tone of this song, and I love the way that they added the actual they quiet it down and it's doing the on Harder to Breathe. It's amazing. But I'd say recommendation for them: Harder to Breathe, Makes Me Wonder, and Wake Up Call.
Cool.
Three really, really good songs by them. I don't even need to explain those 3. I just think if people listen to them, you'll either remember them or you'll love them, or both.
I love how when the difference between how me and you analyze stuff, and I go so deep into bands and movies and stuff. When we do movies here in a bit, it's gonna take us forever for me to get through this stuff. But you were talking about we're moving.
Yeah.
Okay. You
So
were
what,
talking
number
about this is
5?
your nostalgia band. My number 5 is my nostalgia band.
Okay.
Can you guess it?
I
I'm willing to bet you can. What do you think my middle school band was?
see. I know that. I want to guess this one for your top 3 though, so I don't want to say Rush.
Okay, we'll get there. My middle school band was Skillet.
Oh my! I should have known that one. Now that you say it, dang it.
Skillet is a Christian rock band,
Yeah.
but their music is done in a way that it's not something that like is forcing a message to you or something. It's something that is generally trying to help you release your tensions. They have songs about pretty much. They have songs that do talk about like God and stuff, but they also talk about things like depression or just lashing out.
Addiction and stuff like that.
Addiction is a huge one. They Better Than Drugs is a big one for that.
Yeah.
So they're doing, and while they do have that message, whether you like it or not, they can do songs that I think generally are trying to help people process emotion.
Yeah.
I think they're really good at that.
Yeah.
And also, it's like if you want to spread a Christian message, the way to do it is not to force it upon people. It's to let it be there, and if they want it, they can have it.
Yeah.
You know? If I had to give recommendations, Skillet, they have so many good albums is the thing. All of Rise is a huge hit for me. I really love that album. That album I probably played more than anything through middle school.
Discography.
Middle school, high school. I don't know exactly when it came out. If I had to give 3 recommendations, Circus for a Psycho is got one of the greatest guitar riffs you'll ever hear. It is up there with like Van Halen songs.
Yeah.
It is a really good song. If you want a really good workout track, I would do either Feel Invincible or The Resistance. Those are both really good. Those are both, or Back from the Dead, or Feel Invincible or Back from the Dead for a workout track.
Yeah.
Those two, it's from one of their more recent albums. Those 2 songs are one of those songs that make you feel invincible. You just keep getting pumped.
Yeah.
This is a huge workout band for me. And like I said, a huge nostalgia band. And if you want to go a little bit of a ballad route, I would go with Those Nights. Those Nights is a song about what we're doing here. We're remembering all nostalgia. We're remembering, like a line in the song is like, staying up late, talking all night, sitting by the bed. It's like sitting by the bed by the TV light.
Yeah.
And it's a really good song that I played it when we graduated.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, I want to remember all the friends I made. I want to remember all this band, and I feel like this band encapsulates a lot of that era for me.
Yeah.
Your number 5?
All right. My number 5, again, tone change, is and also I want to say white guy alert because my number 5 is Eminem.
All right.
And Eminem is not even because like I'm not that big of a rap fan. I like some newer stuff. I like some
I don't
older
think I
stuff.
have any raps in this list, but there are some I do enjoy.
But just like rap in general is really like a fun genre for me to sing. Being able to like string together those long phrases and get every word right. And Eminem specifically is one of my favorites because it might sound a little bit weird, but I can sing every single word in his songs. And I don't like bleeping myself out.
You're not wrong.
Like,
But
so,
that's funny that's the reason.
I know that sounds like bad, and I don't like to go around telling people that, but it's just like it's true. I don't like having to
do that.
Having
there's
to do that
definitely a few
bleep
songs
out
that
thing.
I like that I can't say all the words to.
It's like I don't want to sound like an idiot and be like,
Let's just not step on this cat's tail.
But Eminem is just honestly he's fun more than anything for me. He's fun to learn his songs and to sing them. And
I know
do the covers
you
and
would
stuff.
often use like really complex rap songs as like warm ups when we're in dressing rooms and stuff. It's
Yeah.
just like, because I guess they're like tongue twisters or vocal warm ups where you can just like,
Yeah.
if you can do it, you're gonna be fine.
Exactly. Like that's one thing that when I'm able to get a song down and when I'm able to hit every word, it's sort of because I'm a person who talks really, really fast.
Yeah.
So being able to nail rap songs just helps me adapt to the way that I talk really fast.
Have you ever seen? You're talking about talking really fast and using it as like a warm up. Have you ever seen the video of that news reporter doing alphabet aerobics before she goes live?
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy. She moves quicker than the song does.
Yeah.
But I totally get that.
Yeah.
And your Eminem recommendations.
All right. Let me think because I don't want to do. I want to do some songs that if people look them up, they're not just messed up. Because there's a few songs by
They're pretty
Eminem
messed up.
but
You need to find an entry level.
yeah, because I will include Stan as my first one
Mm-hmm.
because Stan has a really good chorus. He has got that Dido sample, but it just tells a really good story. It tells like a cautionary tale about a fan who just goes off the deep end for Eminem, and it's really good that Eminem can address that and be so real with that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do a fun one, and then I'm gonna do a sad one.
Okay.
I would say for a fun one, My Name Is.
Okay.
My Name Is just it's just really fun, and it's also one of those ones that I never learned the clean version. So if I listen to it on YouTube,
You're just like, wait, what?
it's like saying all these random lyrics, and I'm rapping the real version, and I'm like, oh shoot. Like,
Censoring that kind of stuff is hilarious. Always hilarious to me.
it's funny to me to picture Eminem recording a clean version of his own song because he's
Yeah.
not the kind of person that I'd picture doing that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he had to for radio play, obviously. And then for a sad one, I'm gonna say When I'm Gone. When I'm
Yep.
Gone is a really, really, it's really real, and it's really like I can tell it comes from a place where Eminem like really believes what he's saying. So it's a super good one for that. So that'll be my Eminem. Also Godzilla with Juice WRLD, very recent,
Yeah.
and Juice WRLD deserves a shout out. So
All right.
that's actually Eminem's fastest song now. Like past Rap God, Godzilla is his fastest.
Is it really?
So it's kind of
Alright.
it's kind of crazy. He topped himself.
What are we up to? 4?
Yeah.
My number 4, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
That's a good choice.
I love the stark contrast in our list where it's like I'm clearly in the past,
Yeah.
and but we'll get out of it for the next 2 and back into it for the number 1.
Well, my next 4 actually jump straight back into the past.
Yeah.
So
Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, and here's the thing: I've talked about 3 of my favorite bands. Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, Def Leppard, and Poison are all on the same tour this year. If COVID gets to a place that I am comfortable, or if I can get vaccinated, or like if it's safe enough to be able to attend a concert, I would do anything
so
to go
cool.
to that concert. And I was weighing my options. I'm like, I'm not gonna feel comfortable going to this, but it sucks.
do you know when they'll be coming anywhere near here?
August, September.
Sad.
Yeah.
Sad life.
So that's a couple months. Maybe best case scenario. Maybe there'll be a miracle. Maybe.
Hit me up. If it's like the end of November.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, sad.
But Joan Jett and the Blackheart, it goes back to like the rebellious teen that I was, where
Yeah.
I was like really into that kind of music, and her music was another example of just rock, and it was so cool. She had some good covers from other songs. Like she also did "Dirty Deeds" from
I
the
can picture
ACD
that
song.
song.
Yeah, and it's really good. If I had to give 3 recommendations for her, it would actually be a song called AC/DC, which is a song she has about. That's just a song to check out. And then the other 2, my favorite album by her is an album called Album.
Whoa!
It's got a yellow cover, and it's just
meta.
Joan Jett on the cover with a white guitar.
Yeah.
It's just called Album, and it has 2 of my favorite songs, which is no, actually, I'm gonna take one of these back. I'll do Who Can You Trust, which is on that album, which is obviously like it gets to the paranoia in me with that song, but I'm like I still like this.
Yeah.
Or from that album too is Fake Friends, which is Yeah, it's something you can relate to at least once in your life. But my recommendation will be Fresh Start, which I think is a newer song from her.
Yeah.
And that song's got a really good, it's got a really good drum beat to it, which I really like. Like, it opens with, like, a good roll, and then it just keeps going. And it's like the guitars come in and the vocals. Across the board, I just enjoy her music. And, of course, everyone, knows I love rock and roll, Bad Reputation.
Yeah.
Like, if you like Bad Reputation, you'll like everything else she puts out, because it's all that same vein.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
And
So
you're
we're
number 4?
Number 4. Number 4 is actually one of my first favorite bands, I would say. Before I even liked Billy Joel at all, I liked the Eagles.
The Eagles. I knew the Eagles would be here.
Because
I was honestly expecting it to be number 2.
No, it's the only reason it's so low is because let me look at my top 3. Because I think
I gotta guess your top 3. Remember? So
yeah.
We'll
So I was about to say I think I have a really good top 3, but the Eagles had to make it onto my list because I just love. Hotel California was actually the second song I remember calling my favorite song.
Mm-hmm.
My first one was Bad Day by Daniel Powter, but he's not on the list because Daniel Powter didn't really do anything other than Bad Day. I mean, he did, but, not anything important. Stop tashing on Daniel Powter. Anyways, but the Eagles, they have a really good vein of ballads and of rock songs and of those feel good driving songs that you get.
You're thinking of, you said driving songs. You know what the only thing I can ever think about with the Eagles is?
I think Life in the Fast Lane.
No. It's that one scene in The Big Lebowski.
Oh, okay.
When the taxi driver is singing to the Beatles, and he's like, the dude is in the back seat, and that's his name, the dude.
Yeah.
For anyone who's not seen the movie. He's just in the back seat. He's just like, come on, man, I've had a really bad day, and I fucking hate the Eagles. And then the taxi driver pulls over and pulls him out of the car and kicks him out on the side of, the LA streets.
Jesus.
It's such a good scene. That whole movie's great. But that's anytime anyone ever brings up the Eagles,
Yeah.
which is more often than I think you would realize.
Yeah.
My teacher brought him up the other day, my professor, and I was like, I told him that, so he's like, yeah.
I think it's also funny, since I'm going into 3 recommendations, I'll start with Hotel California, but I like to draw the parallel between Red Hot Chili Peppers and the Eagles and the way they both compare California to, hell.
Yeah. Well, that's what Hotel California has got,
yeah.
this whole underlying message of, heroin,
And he's clearly, by
drugs
the end of the song, you can tell he's talking about, what is a place that you can go, and I don't know. I don't want to go too deep into it because Hotel California is actually one of those songs people have lots of different theories about.
Yeah,
I just personally believe it's about hell.
Oh, okay.
It's about someone dying.
See,
and
I
going to
think
hell.
it's about heroin.
See, the only reason I think that is because I picture when he sees the bright lights in the beginning of the song,
I could totally see that because
he gets into a car crash and dies, and that's what I think.
Oh, I guess you're right.
That's the way I've always pictured it. He hits the car.
I gotta redo that song. Listen to that song
Yes.
now and rethink about it.
I
I've always
love
just
just,
assumed it.
taking a song apart, lyric by lyric or line by line, and just figuring out exactly what it could mean, and it's so interesting.
Okay, so
But 2 more Eagles. Life in the Fast Lane. That's another really good one. That one actually is about drugs, in my opinion, at least. I think that was actually very, very clear. Life in the Fast Lane. Yeah, and then say Desperado for the 3rd one.
solid actually.
Really sweet,
I
really
forget
slow
about
song.
Desperado for some reason.
I know.
I don't forget about the song. I forget that that's them.
Yeah, it is really because I think that song's been covered by a
A lot
lot
of
of
people.
people.
All right.
I just love their version.
All right. 3.
All right. Oh wait,
You
okay,
want to guess my number 3, and then I'll try to guess your number 3.
See, I just know what could be in your top 3. Just knowing your
You know at least 2 of them, but there's
because the 3 artists that I think you like the most, you haven't said yet. So
so you got to think of which order they're in.
Ah, dang it.
I'll give you a hint. My number 3 is a comedy band.
Is it Ninja Sex Party?
It is Ninja Sex Party. Ninja Sex Party is the whole reason I began growing my hair out.
Yeah.
Because Dan Avedon, who's on Game Grumps, he does a bunch of shows and stuff. one of the funniest men alive. He talked about growing his hair out and giving it to charity, and that's the whole reason I started.
Yeah.
And I'm to a decent length now. I think I'm gonna go a little bit longer and then do the ponytail and cut it from there.
Yeah.
It'll be shoulder length still, so it'll still be long hair. Don't care, but it will be a few inches shorter.
You got to keep those curls for Blue Curl.
Ninja's sex party is. I just giggle, and it's my brand of humor where I just like. It's just the right amount of stupid.
Yeah.
It is just the right amount of stupid. And in such a good way, because, like, I can show... There's a lot of their songs I just can't show to people. Because I'm like, this is a little bit... I can't...
The ones you showed me, I just end up, like...
I can show
just
you
laughing
because
the
you're
whole
also
time.
stupid, is the thing. Me and you are both stupid. I can't show these songs to, like... There's a certain level of friendship I have to have with you.
Like, I know it's childish comedy, but just, like, the way that they... Because the songs are so good to be comedy
It's not
songs.
even I won't even say it's childish. And here's the thing. Even their non-comedy songs, they have
Yeah.
3 cover albums called Under the Covers, 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And they're all fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
And there's another acoustic album with the Super Guitar Bros. They're all great. He did Kiss from a Rose is on that one. He did that version of that.
Yeah.
And Brian Weck, Ninja Brian, it's such a great comedy dynamic of the crazy man and the straight man.
Yeah.
You know? Where it's, and you go through these, and of course, we'll get to my number one, but he did introduce me to my number one favorite band, which we will get to here in a bit. If I had to give my recommendations, the first one would be... This is so hard because I love so much of their songs.
Yeah.
If I had to go with... And they also have these great, like, interludes, like, little, like, 20-second shorts on all of their albums to, like, just kind of, like, as a spacer between the songs.
Yeah.
From their latest album, The Prophecy, I would definitely say this is the song I relate to the most. It's called I Don't Know What We're Talking About.
Yeah.
And I haven't for a while. It's just a song about a dude on a date, and he's just completely has no idea what they're talking about. And like I can relate to that, where it's
I
like
definitely remember
you've
that
been
one.
talking for a bit, and I just I was thinking about pterodactyls.
Because you told me that was like the one that had to be like an amalgamation of your brain. Like that
It
was
is
what
my
it was.
It's like this is how I think. This is what happens when I'm in math.
Yeah.
Another song, my second recommendation will be off of Cool Patrol, which is one of the more recent albums, but not the most recent. I think it's gonna be Danny Don't You Know, which is it's still a comedy song, but it's not. There's a tone to it. It's a song about where Dan kind of talks about. I relate to that song a lot. I was bullied relentlessly in middle school. It was awful. It got to the point I had to leave school for the bit.
Yeah.
And that song is really just it relates to me emotionally on a certain level of just like, listen, you're weird, you're young, you're awkward, but like, listen, eventually you're gonna get older and none of that's gonna matter. You can be the cool guy you want to be, and you can do whatever you want. Just have fun, be cool. That song, like, first time I heard it, I got a little teary-eyed to it. I related to it a little bit too much.
Yeah.
And on a lighter note, also off of Cool Patrol, I'm gonna say Eating Food in the Shower.
Eating food in the shower.
That's the name of the song. It's Eating Food in the Shower. And the music video for that one is also great because it's like this couple. It's like, well, we're eating food in the shower. By the way, I hired a mariachi band, and they're also here. It's just like the certain correct level of weird and stupid.
Yeah.
You don't go too far. And here's the thing, I didn't mention any of their songs that, like, there's a good 50% of their songs are about boning, but, like, if you want that vein, go to Heart Boner, which is, like, a love ballad, like, almost like a Poison-style love ballad, but it's called Heart Boner.
Yeah.
All right, you're number 3. If I had to guess,
Wait, I need to give you.
you
at
gotta give me
least-
something.
Okay, so my top 3 is there's one artist and 2 bands,
2 bands, okay.
and
I know the artist.
Number
already.
3 is a bit older than
Beatles.
that is
Nailed
it.
it.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Yep.
Nailed it. The Beatles, because I've always loved the Beatles simply because we used to have Beatles rock band when I was in elementary school. So like
Yeah.
that's when I learned most of their songs. But it's just like as I've gotten older, I've found that some of their songs are just like perfect. Just like for listening to something weird or listening to something like it's so strange because they don't make regular music. They definitely found their niche in music, but it's like it's such a wide variety.
They were pioneers for a lot
Yeah.
in a time, and like I should have put Beatles as another honorable mention.
Yeah.
I know a guy with a Beatles tattoo, like
Yeah.
on his arm, and I also realized with that band, I think everyone, you know how, especially with like the Eagles, everyone thinks of like Hotel California, or if you think of a different band, you'll have a song that you initially equate to them.
Yeah.
Like AC/DC, a lot of people think of Shoot to Thrill, Thunderstruck first.
Yeah.
With the Beatles, everyone has a different song that they think of immediately.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's weird because they did, and it's also funny to me that they were famous as this band, made all these famous songs, and then all 4 of them individually. I said both because I'm thinking of Paul McCartney and John Lennon because they're the most famous solo artists. But they all went out and did their own solo stuff, and it's pretty popular.
There's a really interesting story about the drummer that was originally a part of the Beatles before Ringo Starr. That's his name, right?
Ringo was the one who stayed with them.
Ringo's the
know
one
who
that
you're
stayed
talking
with
about.
them, but there is another drummer that was originally going
was
to be
Harrison
part of
the
the band.
drummer, or was
I don't remember.
no? Harrison played bass.
Bass. I don't know.
Ringo was the drummer. Oh, I feel stupid for not knowing that, but hey, I mean,
It's like Wham, where you're like George Michael and the other one.
it's like people also go back and forth with Careless Whisper, like saying it's by George Michael or it's by Wham.
Yeah,
It's like they're both the same song. It doesn't matter.
but everyone thinks of a different song with the Beatles. I personally think of Obla Di Obla Da.
yeah,
first.
people think of like they separate their like boy band and like sort of cleaner stuff versus their like psychedelic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like they always separate those two eras because they were pioneers in both of those. Like they were one of the first big boy bands. And then they
I
started
don't know if
making all
that's
this,
the
like,
term I
trippy
would
music.
use, but it is. You're correct.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what I call them, but I just remember like the hottest boy band in the world is not D12. It's the Beatles. But I need to do 3 suggestions. So I'm gonna do like what I've been doing with the other ones and pick 3 different.
Yeah.
So my favorite of their like psychedelic stuff is probably Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
That's pretty good.
It's just because I like I'm the Walrus because of that same reason, like how it's like the lyrics are just like trippy and weird to
and
listen
weird.
to. But just like Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds does also
It's
some
almost
really cool
what
audio
Pink Floyd
tricks.
would become, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's actually that's why I like them too, is because of that like psychedelic stuff.
Did either of us have? Okay, we'll get to you then. You gave me an eyebrow raise.
But I guess I saw her standing there would be my second recommendation,
Mm-hmm.
and then
My go-to for them will always be Back in the USSR.
Oh,
I really like that song.
I really like that song, but for my third suggestion, I want to pick something. Yesterday was just a Paul McCartney. No, yesterday was by
No,
them.
yesterday was the Beatles.
Because
Beatles.
I can never remember whether because Paul McCartney had Wings and he had
Yeah.
his own solo stuff, and then he recorded stuff with the Beatles. So it's kind of hard to
Yeah.
remember which.
Yeah,
he recorded
yesterday
with.
is a Beatles song.
But yeah, I'd say because yesterday wasn't like either of those. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
it's like one of the slower ones, kind of like Desperado was for the Eagles.
How did neither me or you mention Here Comes the Sun? Considering we were a part of a theater show, one of our early theater shows
Yeah.
was to that song, had that song as like the main theme.
Listen, when I think of that song, weirdly, even though it was in our show, I think of the B movie. So
You know what? Fair enough.
So it's not one of the first ones I think of, but it's definitely. I mean, all the songs like that are very pretty. Like every time they tried to do a slow and pretty song
It
that
was
I've
really
heard,
good.
they did a really good job.
Hey Jude is a masterpiece to me.
Yeah.
All right. my number 2. You done?
Yeah.
All right. My number 2.
Wait, I'm gonna guess it. Wait, can you? Because I know.
It's not a band. It's a person.
So I'm assuming Jonathan Young.
It's Jonathan Young.
Yes.
Jonathan Young is another YouTube. I'll hesitate to even say that because he's just a good musician.
Yeah.
He does these pop punk or heavy punk style not parody covers of songs, and I have a playlist on my phone it's every song he does, because every song he does is a banger. Every song he does, even if I don't like it initially, I'm like, this might be a little too far into his style.
Yeah.
And then I'm like listening to it and I'm like, no, this is good. This is really good, actually.
I also really like his Disney covers.
His Disney covers are great. His anime covers, he does covers of everything. This man is prolific with throwing song, or not throwing out, but crafting song, doing these covers. And here's the thing, he also does original stuff. And that's gonna be my recommendation. My number 1 recommendation will be a cover or an original song he did called Bait. If you haven't heard that song, you need to.
Yeah.
And coming from this guy who's like primarily like doing music on YouTube and for the internet, that song, you can tell it's voicing some kind of frustration, but like in a good way, or like you can tell that hits some kind of note. Like there was something he was pulling from for that song. And of course, like as much as I've been playing, I love pop punk a lot.
Yeah.
Other than that, I will mention 2 of his covers that really stand out. Crazy Noi and Bizarre Town, which is a JoJo Bizarre Adventure cover. I know amongst like his fan stuff, the JoJo things kind of became a meme of himself, but like specifically the video he did for Crazy Noise and Bizarre Town, it's just hilarious because it's just like this crazy like imagery. It's like he's on a green screen like dancing around. I'm just like, this puts me in a good mood, and the song itself is great. It's better than the normal opening in my opinion. And then if you want something a little bit heavier, do You're Gonna Go Far Kid, which is I'm gonna get this
The
one.
Offspring.
Offspring, that's it. It's a cover. It's an Offspring song. It's done with one other female singer. I can't remember her name here. I actually want to pull this up because I wanna point her out. On this place, it's Laura Babic, I think is the name.
Sounds familiar, actually.
Yeah. Them doing that song together, it gets heavy. She specifically goes through an entire vocal range in that song.
Yeah.
And he puts these really good breakdowns in all of his songs. It's like, or like some really good like keyboard work. If you go on Twitter, or even my Twitter, because I know I retweeted it, he definitely he has video of him just playing songs, and he is insane. He was actually, I think at one point he was roommates with Family Jewels.
Yeah.
Which I find hilarious because they were part of that online music community.
Yeah, they both shred.
They're amazing. They're amazing. And the same way I talked about with Family Jewels having this very grandiose thing, Jonathan Young almost has a more grounded, like it's meant for the individual.
Yeah.
And I know that's some crazy
deep stuff.
That's some deep shit I'm talking, but like that's what I feel when I listen to his music.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I've rambled. You're number 2, Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Then I definitely know. Then of course Billy Joel we'll get to that. But
Yeah.
Pink Floyd.
I was about to say we already mentioned earlier in the list Billy Joel was on here, so it
Yep.
wasn't a surprise to anyone that Billy Joel is my number 1.
Yep.
But Pink Floyd,
It's also not a surprise to anyone who knows you.
yeah, exactly. But like people know me for liking Billy Joel, and honestly, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
It's not a bad image to have. But Pink Floyd, I really got into. I wouldn't say recently because I've liked their music for a long time, but I really got into how they tell stories with their albums, like the way that you can listen to Dark Side of the Moon or The Wall just straight through, and like they just pack their albums like they're writing a story.
They even did that because The Wall had a movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, The Wall
With
that's
bizarre imagery.
my stepdad made a joke to me. He said, because I have a friend who is like smokes a lot of.
Oh, hold on, we're getting a phone call. This is important.
Oh yeah.
Nico, you're on a podcast.
I'm on a podcast.
You're on a.
We take one
So,
phone call
I
every
was
podcast.
wondering if you were gonna play Among Us tonight.
No, I got. No, I got a bunch of. We got more podcasts to do later. Do it without me.
All right. Well, good luck with your podcast.
All
I
right.
think we just multitask and play Among Us while we're talking about movies.
I'm never. If someone calls me in the middle of a podcast, unless it's like I'm going to answer it because it's good comedy to put people on the spot.
I would really like to do like, and not even like planned ones, just one random phone call every time we do a podcast.
Happening. It keeps happening.
Wait, didn't my sister call while we were doing a podcast, or was that?
No, that was after the podcast. That was
But
after
it was
the
like right
podcast.
after we recorded
It was right after.
Yeah, I gotta set somebody up so they call like
But Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd. But anyways, I have a friend who smokes a lot.
Uh-huh.
And my stepdad was like, "You should go hang out with Parker and then watch The Wall because it's just that trippy." But
It is
same
it
thing
is
with
the
Dark Side of the
stoner
Moon,
band.
though. It's like those songs are made to be listened to while you're like kind of tripping out.
Can I say that as much as people love The Dark Side of the Moon, The Wall is my preferred album.
I think so too. Honestly, as much as I love songs, like Time is definitely one of my tops.
I specifically like, especially my experience with school and stuff. Another Brick in the Wall is a huge.
Like as much as I love songs like Money and stuff like that, like 2 of my 3 recommendations are gonna be from The Wall.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, Time is one of my recommendations. I'd say Comfortably Numb is my second, and wait, I might have to do.
I would say, I will say though, my absolute favorite,
Yeah,
Wish You Were Here.
that's what I was about to say. I was about to say like,
Wish You Were Here has also got like that really cool. That album's got some really cool cover art too.
yeah,
Where it's like
Oh,
the
yeah.
one dude
I
on
love
fire and the other dude looking, and it's so.
you know what? Since you suggested Wish You Were Here, I'm gonna give one more suggestion
Yeah.
because I want to call out this song. I don't want to, but Hey You is from The Wall, and it's just like that slow start. It's like I love that intro for that song, like the way that it kind of like echoes when he says "Hey You." I don't know. I just love the audio effects they use.
It is good. All right.
All right, number ones.
And my number one, we're down. We know yours. It's Billy Joel.
I know you're number one.
You know my number one.
Is it Rush?
It's Rush.
Yes.
Introduced to me by Dan Avedon, Danny Sexbang, Ninja Sex Party.
Yeah.
Talking about it on his show, and I started listening to this band, and it's everything my over-analytic brain loves.
Yeah.
It's these grandiose rock operas where they're the same reason you like the Pink Floyd albums where they're telling a whole story.
Yeah.
Every song is a story
Yeah.
with that band.
Oh, I love stuff like that.
And it's crazy, and anytime, and here's my first recommendation. Anytime you've got 20 minutes to spare, because that's how long this song is. It's 20 minutes long. Listen to 2112. 2112 is this grandiose rock opera about just a world, a 1984 style future in the year 2021.
Yeah.
Or 2112, sorry. That's closer.
2021.
Huh? In the year 2112, where music is like this taboo thing, and it's extreme, but like, and but it's not even the lyrics where they're explaining it. They tell the story with the sound, and unfortunately, both the bassist and the drummer Neil Peart have passed away last year, I think. They were both insanely good at what they did. Like Neil Peart is one of the greatest drummers you're ever gonna. I'm not sure if I'm saying his last name right, but he's one of the greatest drummers. YYZ. That song is parodied in Archer and regular show as being like, of course, the most complicated drum solo you're ever gonna hear.
Yeah.
And if you go to Rush's website, they have these super long like detailed descriptions about what the songs are about,
Yeah.
and like and pointing out things that like you don't hear your third or fourth time listening to the song. So 2112 is my first recommendation. My second recommendation is gonna be Limelight.
Okay.
Limelight, especially if you're a type of person who works in theater or in acting or in movies or whatever. Limelight is or even music, of course, with them. It's the kind of song that is meant to relate to you. It's meant to be like, yes, we've grown up with this idea of fame and fortune, all this kind of stuff, but what's the consequences of it, or is this truly what you want, or is this what's been projected that it's your desires?
Yeah.
I can't just do 3 recommendations. I have to do 2 more. Subdivisions is another one. If you want a more of a like mellow song, Subdivision is like these really long piano chords, and it's very slow, and it kind of a line from it's like, in the high school halls, in the shopping malls, conformed or be cast out, and that tells you everything you need to know about that song.
Yeah.
And then my all-time, this might be my all-time favorite song right here, Cinderella Man.
Okay.
Cinderella Man is this, I think it relates better today than any other song. It's a song where you just hear the story of this dude is like, who wants to do good. He wants to do everything, but he's treated as crazy because of being kind.
Yeah.
Because he's the antagonist. Meanwhile, but because he's doing what he knows is right. The manic depressive who walks in the rain is a line I have thought about getting tattooed.
Yeah.
Like, I would be lying if I've said I haven't thought about that. But it's such a good song, and the instrumentals themselves I could listen to on repeat, let alone the lyrics. I will read Rush lyrics like novels.
And the funny thing to me is that one of their most popular songs is probably one of their shortest songs, and that would be
Tom Sawyer.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Tom Sawyer. Tom Sawyer is like the scratched surface of how deep. It is like you scratch the surface of your table, and then the deepness of the lyrics is the center of the earth.
Yeah.
That's the difference between that. And like, I like Tom Sawyer, it's fine, but it is not their best song. That's just a rabbit hole I could go down forever.
And a quick note about Rush: there's an ABC sitcom called The Goldbergs, and one of the characters, which weirdly has like a curly, like long curly hair that goes in a ponytail, he loves Rush. That's his thing.
Yeah.
And he gets one of the main characters of the show to fall in love with him by showing them a Rush cassette. It's set in the 80s.
Yeah.
And she gets in the car and listens to it, and she's automatically in love with him, in love with Rush. Like,
Well,
it's
Rush
so
was-
funny that it affects her that quickly.
Yeah, because that's what that band does.
Yeah.
It is such an in-depth look at emotion and storytelling, and it's everything I love about movies and shows and music. It is distilling our human emotions into something physical.
Yeah.
It is desiring all of our desires and hatreds and everything we feel, all of our emotion, into a medium. And I know I sound like I should be listening to a Pink Floyd album right now. I know
That's a good way to put that.
but I'm not. It's just how much I love that band. I love what they stand for and what they do, and they're not afraid to challenge your ideals and make you think further, think better.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna stop.
It's like-
I'm gonna let you go on about Billy Joel now.
See, this is the funny thing to me about Billy Joel is that all of my suggestions none of them are going to be his hit singles.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really want to suggest songs, because when you hear Billy Joel, you obviously think something like Piano Man or We Didn't Start the Fire, but I really want to
He had a lot of
give some
hits.
good suggestions. Like, He had tons. I mean, like, because his first album came out in his first solo album, at least. He was in multiple bands before he was
Mhm.
ever just Billy Joel. But I think his first album came out in 1971.
Yeah.
Um,
Rush would have been not long before that either.
yeah. So we at least our first artists are like around the same time
Yeah.
period. But Billy Joel, he kept making music all the way. His last album with lyrics was in the 90s.
Mhm.
And then he did this really cool instrumental one, but nobody listens to that because it's all like classical.
Mhm.
Because he's an amazing composer, even without because he writes his music first. But that's one of the things I love about him is that he uses his music to tell the story, just like you said, like Rush does.
Mhm.
And one of my favorite songs by him is one that I think sums him up. It's called Summer Highland Falls.
Yeah.
And he announces it, I think at Shea Stadium. He's like, "This is for all the manic depressives out here tonight," because
Yep.
it's a song about how he's just thinking about how his relationship isn't going well and how his life isn't going how he wants it to go. And he actually tells the story and tells like the emotion through the arpeggios he plays in that song, because they go up and down just like a manic depressive does. And that was actually, I think, the point of him writing that. It's just amazing songwriting.
I put Billy Joel as my number 9, and it was so hard for me not to put him like higher, but I was just like, I know this is gonna be so high on Jake's list.
I know, but you had some really good ones.
I
mean,
know, and it's just like I had to sum up. It's like I know what this musician means to Jake. It means the same thing to him that Rush means to me,
Yeah.
and I gotta let him take that as him.
It's like, ooh, because I don't want to, because Summer Highland Falls is actually, I think that's Billy Joel's favorite Billy Joel song,
Mhm.
right? But there's a few of them that literally are not hit singles at all that I just love. Piano Man and Glass Houses are actually two of my favorite of his albums.
Mm-hmm.
Glass Houses had some really good ones like All for Lena and C'était à Toi. And C'était à Toi, even though I like that one, is actually Billy Joel's least favorite Billy
Really?
Joel song. He hates it so much because he wrote the French lyrics, performed it in France, and they thought he was speaking Polish because it was just so bad.
Bad at speaking French.
Because he's from New York, and he still has that accent. He's kept, even when he lived in L.A., and I could tell you this whole man's life story, but I'm not going to. I'm not deep dive that much. I just want to I just love his music. I just think that he's like a kindred spirit to me.
He's great. He's an aspiration to what like music can be.
He to me is like the everyman of music.
Yeah.
Like he can do those amazing guitar songs, amazing piano songs, and even though his voice, some people would, I think his high notes are always amazing, but people say his voice isn't like one of the best. But he just
It's
really
good for
uses
what
he
his
has.
music
Yeah,
for his songs.
exactly.
And here's the thing: they'll say the same thing with Rush. That like, oh, the singing is weird. It's like, no, the singing is what this song needs.
Yeah.
So if like you think you're not that good of a singer, it doesn't matter. Just do your best and write what your voice will speak. What
Yeah.
your voice is gonna be able to portray. What your, if it's coming from something you truly believe, like I think Billy Joel and Rush both do.
Yeah.
If it's something you truly relate to, you truly are trying to put through, it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Or it's gonna be at least something you can be proud of.
But I think giving the 3 recommendations, I'd like to point to some that people wouldn't usually know. So my first recommendation I'm gonna say is Sleeping with the Television On.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard that one?
No, I haven't.
It's I definitely need to show it to you because it's one of my favorites of his. It starts out with that old, like at the end of the TV day, it plays like the I guess it plays the national anthem.
Mm-hmm.
But it starts out with that, and then it goes like straight into this. It's this kind of song that you'd want to sing on a stage, like sing during karaoke, because you could just get full like dancing and
Mhm.
singing. Like it's awesome. And I believe that one is on Glass Houses. But then one from Piano Man, I'd say Stop in Nevada. Wait, Yeah. I guess Stop in Nevada. That one's about like a woman finally getting tired of being with her husband and just running away and
Mhm.
telling him, I'm not sure why she tells him she's gonna stop in Nevada because like she doesn't say where. She just leaves a letter telling him she's going to, and then she's gonna be gone like to California forever.
Uh-huh.
So kind of a mean letter, honestly.
Just letting you know I gotta get gas.
Just yeah, it's like I think my car can make it to Nevada. I'm not sure why I'm telling you this, but I think I can make it all the way there before I have to stop. Her husband's like, please. But third one is Okay, wait. This song has a really really awkward. I don't know why I say awkward. It's just like every time I hear the beginning, it's like dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
But then it slows down. In the bar at the Plaza Hotel, wear a jacket. I'm trying to think.
Trying to remember it.
I'm trying to get into the song so I can talk about it. But it's oh my gosh. Dude, I don't know why I'm blanking on the name of this song. It's one of the ones like I said, not a hit single at all, but just one of my favorite ones by him.
While you're looking that up, I'm gonna go ahead and put my 3 because Billy Joel was on my list.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do Moving Out, Big Shot, which are both story song, like these songs telling a very detailed story, and the song that I think I equate to our friendship a lot is Scenes from an Italian Restaurant.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know why.
Such a good one.
I can't think of that song, not think of you, and think about all the good times me and you have had.
And that is like that's actually one of his longest ones. You'd think that he'd have a few.
Yeah, I like long songs.
But he does he doesn't do that many long standing ones, but that one just works so well. It's almost like Bohemian Rhapsody because it's cut into different like sections. And I like that, but the one I was talking about was actually called these are both from Glass Houses. It's called I Don't Want to Be Alone, and then Sleeping with the Television On is on there too.
All right.
I Don't Want to Be Alone is like starts off kind of awkward, then slows down and just really it's a really sweet story, but it's really honest too. Like it's like you don't actually want to be with me, you just don't want to be alone. Like that emotional connection isn't it?
Heavy.
But it's like he's okay with that. Like he's with her, he's going to be with her anyways, but he's like you don't actually want this. You just want the satisfaction that it brings.
Ooh.
So I love that. Love that message. And then I'll just throw in Worst Comes to Worst because that one's from Piano Man. Not a hit single, but really, really good one.
This was such a good podcast.
I love talking about music.
And we got more of these to do, and we're gonna be doing more. I think we're gonna do more top 10 stuff because this was really good. We're doing one more today too. So
like I said, I really do want to do directors. I think
need to do that.
I need to explore my directors.
That'd be good. I know.
Because I know you'd be good for that, but I need to actually like.
You think I went on about Rush? Wait until you see me go into movies.
I think I already know who your number one would be for.
Well,
directors,
we're gonna do that.
I just want to go ahead and say that.
But I think we're gonna wrap up.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna be doing. This was definitely longer than an hour, but
hey, I think it was worth it. If people go through and listen, they would get some real insight.
It's definitely insight into our brains.
Yeah.
So, all right, I think we're good here.
Yeah.